It's episode 4 of my series about cruising down the Columbia River with American Cruise Lines. And in today's video, the ship is docked in Kalama, Washington, where most of the passengers head out and have some fun. Some of us learned about the sport of axe throwing. Others enjoyed some shopping at the Mountain Timber Market right next to the ship. And then later in the day, we took a very scenic drive to Washington's famous volcano, Mount St Helens. When we wrapped up episode 3, the ship had been docked in the Dalles, Oregon all day, on day 4 of our cruise. At about 5:30 that afternoon, the captain backed our ship out from the dock at the Dalles, spun it around 180 degrees to get us heading downriver, and then we were on our way to our next destination. The ship will sail all night while we all sleep, and when we wake up tomorrow, we'll have somewhere completely new to explore. A very talented musician had come aboard in the Dalles, and at the end of the day, put on a show for us.
I got the blues for Mississippi. I got the blues for Tennessee.
It's always a great way to end each day, gathering in the River Lounge to enjoy a nice show. And at the same time as that was going on, there was a show going on outside, too. We were sailing through what's known as the Columbia River Gorge National Scenic Area, and there was a lot to see. First, notice the freight train on the right side of the river, the Washington side. We saw a whole lot of trains today, and I'm certainly not complaining about that. If you're a train fanatic like I am, go on this cruise. You'll love it. There are trains all along this portion of the river, BNSF on the Washington side and Union Pacific on the Oregon side. There's another one there on the right, sitting on a siding, waiting for that previous train to get by, I would think. I'm jumping ahead a little through this time-lapse video to show you some rocks creating a navigational hazard at a narrow part of the river the captain had to be especially careful at. This was late May in the Pacific Northwest. We're so far north that the sun sets pretty late this time of the year. You can see it peeking through the clouds there. Jumping ahead again, here's an interesting part of the river where the captain had to take the ship over to the right side of the river to stay in deep water. And there was another BNSF freight train over there right at the same time. Jumping ahead one last time, here we are coming in to Hood River, Oregon, there on the left side of the river. It's a beautiful little town with a great-looking bridge for us to sail under, and another freight train for us to see on the Washington side. BNSF is really busy tonight. I hope that people didn't get so involved with dinner and the entertainment and ship life that they missed all of this. I loved watching it from my balcony. When I woke up the next morning, I put the drone up in the air to take a look around and get the lay of the land. This was about 6:30 on a Sunday morning. We're docked in Kalama, Washington now. And again, that's Oregon on the other side of the river. As the drone continues to pull back now, you're going to see there's a park with a big lawn right next to our dock. The park will get very busy later in the day. That building with the red roof, that's a hotel. And in the lower left of this shot, that building with the brown roof, that is a big waterfront marketplace called the Mountain Timber Market, where you can find food, a coffee shop, a bar, and lots of cute little shops. I'll take you inside a little bit later. Almost every one of our 180 passengers has signed up today for a free excursion to Mount St Helens this afternoon. But after breakfast this morning, a small group of us has also signed up for a fun excursion to learn about the sport of axe throwing. I don't think any of us had ever thrown an axe before. I was a Boy Scout, so sure, I've used axes many times to chop wood, but there was a bit of a learning curve for all of us as we got started. But it was super casual. There was no pressure. It was just a bunch of senior citizens having fun like we were at summer camp. And before long, every one of us got to the point where we could hit the target. Axe throwing is certainly an activity you don't think of doing on a cruise, but it's something I'll remember for a long time from this one. Once we got back to the ship after the axe throwing excursion, I launched the drone once again for a better look around. You can see we're starting to get more blue sky and sunshine now. And most importantly, over on the other side of the river in Oregon, look at that forest of beautiful green trees. We are on the west side of the Pacific Northwest now, where they get a ton of rain from September through mid-May, and we're here in late May with summer just around the corner. I mentioned earlier that this big building with the brown roof has a lot of cute little shops in it. It's called the Mountain Timber Market. Even though free ice cream is always available on our ship, I saw some of our passengers buying ice cream here at that trailer. Inside the Mountain Timber Market, there's a chocolate store that looked pretty good to me. There was a cute little plant shop, a coffee shop, and then in the middle of the building, the marketplace, a whole bunch of pop-up shops with interesting things to sell. I think the Mountain Timber Market is absolutely worth a visit when the ship stops in Kalama for the day. While I had the drone up in the air, I decided to take a look at a little marina that was near where we were docked. And that's when I noticed in the distance some BNSF locomotives. Do you see them? Well, I couldn't resist that, so I sent the drone in for a closer look. Holy cow, look at those beautiful locomotives. They look very clean. And don't you just love that distinctive paint job? You can recognize that from quite a distance. This was a Sunday. Maybe that's a slow day on the railroad. I don't know. They've got a lot of locomotives sitting around doing nothing. They even had a Norfolk Southern locomotive in the bunch. I didn't expect to see that. After lunch, just about every one of our passengers elected to go on a very scenic bus ride up into the Mount St Helens National Volcanic Monument. It took 4 buses to get all 180 of us up there. And after a really gorgeous ride up the mountain, we reached the Mount St Helens Science and Learning Center, which is perched way up high on a ridge that overlooks Coldwater Lake. And if not for the clouds that we had that day, we would have had a fantastic view of Mount St Helens. Well, we had a fantastic view of the base of Mount St Helens, but the clouds were covering the interesting part where the volcano blew the side of the mountain away. Hopefully you'll have better luck on the day you come here if you do. It's just a matter of luck, but the odds are more in your favor in June, July, and August, and we were here in May. Coldwater Lake is really beautiful. It did not exist before the catastrophic volcanic eruption of May 18, 1980. It was a glacial valley containing Coldwater Creek. And when the entire north face of the mountain collapsed, the debris created a dam that created this lake. In this shot here, you can see the area where a lot of the debris that came down off the mountain ended up. And you can see Mount St. Helens, but the most interesting part was covered up by the clouds the day we were there. Here's a picture of it on a better day. Here we can see that huge part of the mountain that's missing. You have a bowl-shaped crater where the volcano exploded, and that entire side of the mountain slid away, covering everything in its path. Geologists call that carved-out valley floor stretching out from the crater the pumice plain. It was the direct bullseye for the lateral blast of the volcano and the pyroclastic flows that followed. Now, drones are not allowed to be flown at a national monument like this, so I had to get all these shots the old-fashioned way. But since we were high up on a ridge, we had a pretty good view. We also visited the Mount St Helens Visitor Center at Silver Lake. It was full of exhibits to help you understand the Mount St Helens story better. There were even some really nice three-dimensional exhibits that helped you get the lay of the land a little better, kind of like when I put my drone up for a look around when our ship docked somewhere new. But at this exhibit, you can do something that my drone can't do. You can go inside the mountain for a look around. Spoiler alert, apparently this is what they think the inside of a volcano looks like. But is it really? They also had a really good movie that did a great job of telling the Mount St. Helens story here at the Mount St. Helens Visitor Center at Silver Lake. Back at the ship after a nice time out at Mount St. Helens, there was some fun going on out at that big lawn at the park next to our dock. Some teenage boys were hitting baseballs, and I love baseball. It was my favorite sport to play when I was a kid, and it's my favorite sport to watch on TV now that I'm a lot older. So I got the drone out to get an aerial shot of the boys playing baseball there at the park, just to show you how this place in Kalama where the ship docks is kind of cool. And after I got the shot and started taking the drone up higher, wouldn't you know it, one of the little buggers tried to hit the drone with a baseball. Did you see that? And then someone tried again and got a lot closer. Well, boys will be boys, I guess. I probably shouldn't have been surprised that the boys would try that, but I was. If he had hit it, it would have knocked a very expensive drone right out of the sky, and the crash probably would have damaged the drone to the point that I wouldn't have been able to use it for the whole rest of the trip. Luckily, they missed both shots. On a much lighter note, after cocktails and dinner on board the ship that night, they brought on a hilarious musician/comedian to entertain us. This guy was like a cowboy version of Weird Al. I didn't get the greatest audio of it, but let me give you a little taste of his humor.
I'm going back out there to find my hair that blew by you. It was a black toupee with just a touch of gray that blew by you. I've got no peace of mind without that peace of mind. My head looks light and baby's behind. I'll catch a cold, I swear, without my hair that blew by you.
I thought it was a pretty great way to wrap up day number 5 of our cruise. After the entertainment was all over and everyone went to bed, at around midnight the ship set sail down the river again for about a 5-hour trip to our next destination. And when I woke up the next morning, I sent the drone up for a look around, and we had just arrived in Astoria, Oregon. In fact, at this point, the ship wasn't even tied up to the dock yet. I'm going to cover Astoria in the next episode of this series of videos. While we enjoy this shot of the ship's arrival in Astoria, I want to just mention that if you're going to book one of these Columbia River cruises with ACL, I'm offering the services of my travel agent to you at no additional expense to you at all. And of all the travel agents out there you could choose from, Caitlin Gallagher is one of the most knowledgeable about American cruise lines. So she'll be able to advise you properly and set your arrangements for you so that everything is just right. She puts everything into a master itinerary for you. You'll get a printed and bound copy mailed to your home, plus a digital version, along with luggage tags, a tote bag, and some other swag. She can make all of your travel arrangements for you, arrange for extra days at hotels either before or after the cruise, and arrange for private transportation to be waiting to take you wherever you need to go. Give Caitlin a call, send her an email, or visit her website, whatever you're more comfortable with. Join me a week from now for episode number 5 of this series, Astoria, Oregon. And if you're wondering about how things went with the surgery I mentioned in the last episode, take a look in the comments of this video for the story on that. But I promise you, it's all good news. I'm Jim Zim. Thanks for watching.